Hey, what's good, comic fans? This is Confire Comics, and we're bringing you another Top 3. It's a weekly video series where we bring you our personal Top 3 picks of the week. Now, this is a spoiler-filled video. We're going to talk about these comics like you've already read them. If you have not read them and you're looking for a review, go check them out on our website at confirecomics.com. This was a slow week, so we grabbed one comic from the week before. We're about to talk about these and jump right into it and waste no more time. You're here talking with your boy, Confire Rich.
And I'm Confire Nate. And the one from last week, we're going to start it off with that. We are going to talk about Fight Club 2, number 4. Now, what'd you think about this one there, Richard?
I read it last night, and I started out confused. I don't know why. For some reason, this comic can confuse me, and I was confused. I was like, wait, why is he at the house again? I thought the last one this happened, and what's this chick doing? They in a battleground, and then it all kind of clicked and made sense, and I liked it because now he's back fighting. Like, he's actually at a fight club. And I was like, all right, this is pretty cool. And I knew, I don't know, did you catch who that guy was, like, right off the bat?
Yeah.
As soon as they called his name, I knew exactly. When he said revenge, I was like, oh, I know who this is. This is Jared Leto from the movie.
Yeah.
When he got his face just smashed in.
Angel face.
I thought that was actually really cool.
Yeah,
but yeah, Angel Face. I didn't know that was.
It was
his
neat
name
because they had a couple. I don't know. Did you realize at one point you had a couple of flashback characters? You had him and you had Robert Paulson, who is supposed to be dead. So he called
that name.
What's her name, and then all of a
Big
sudden
Bob.
she drove off, and then you see him. So I don't know what's that about. But he had like half his head missing where he got blown. You know, where he got shot. So
yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
I didn't get that. I heard the name again. I read it real quick. I breezed through it. I saw the name. I was like, huh, that name sounds very familiar. And you talking about man tits.
Yeah, Meatloaf.
Yeah.
That's the guy who plays that part, Mr. Meatloaf.
Yeah.
From music that I never listened to back in the day.
I didn't know that. See, I'm glad, because if I'd have realized that, then I'd have been really confused.
Yeah, no, it was a confusing issue period, because you had like moments where all of a sudden they were like, because basically Marla is not, if she's not confident Sebastian's going to get this done, so she's going on her own mission, and she's got her little support group of midget, old little kids that are whatever they are, like old people that are getting smaller, whatever. I don't even know what disease is called. But these guys are apparently like they're connected. You know what I'm saying? Like, they know ways. So they're like, listen, we'll find them. So they're like helping her, which is kind of cool, but it's also kind of creepy. So she's walking around with these little people, and she's going to all these different clubs. They got knitting club and riding clubs and stuff like that. And they all seem to be a part of this fight club. It's all
it's like a spin-off.
Right, they're
like
all these spin-offs, but again, they all have these, like, they're still getting these, like, missions and stuff. So, I mean, Tyler has expanded into unbelievable proportions. He's got all this stuff going on, and I have no idea. And a lot of that kind of seems like, once I went back and I didn't realize until this issue, where Sebastian has been working at. And he's been working at that company that basically supplies, mercenaries or guns for hire to all these different places. Like, that's what he does. So let's take that into consideration, and then think about Tyler waking up at different times. Dude, there's no telling what in the world he freaking, what kind of mess he's put the world in, by just accessing what Sebastian has the ability to access. So, I mean, it's getting crazy. There was a lot of crazy stuff in this particular issue, man. I thought it was weird, and it was kind of funny when she walks into that room and they're like talking. Well, that guy down there, the guy who was like talking like he was writing the comic, that's the dude who wrote the comic. That's who that's supposed to be. That's Chuck. I can't even think of his last name. I can't even pronounce it. I'll just destroy it. That's who that was. So he's like, he actually wrote himself into the comic just for a minute and then wrote himself out. So it was kind of like, that's kind of silly. But at the same time, it was, okay, whatever. It didn't
No,
move
that's
the
kinda
story
cool, man.
anywhere.
A
So I guess
little Easter egg.
yeah, a little. Hey, how you
For
doing?
those who
you
don't know, it's not going to mean nothing. And for those who do know, they're like, oh, that's kind of neat. He pulled a little Quentin Tarantino, threw himself in for a second.
Right. So I mean, it was cool. It didn't make last week because I didn't feel like it progressed the story very much. But you know, it had some moments.
Yeah.
I'm definitely interested to see what's going to happen with because Sebastian getting his butt kicked. It ends with him getting his butt just straight up handed to him.
Well,
so,
yeah, but they're still fighting. Did it end? Like, did the fight end?
It did. No, it ended with a punch to the face. That's how it ended. Like, it did not show what happened.
I just thought
next.
it was just like, okay, this is going to keep going. Because he said, oh, if I take this guy out, I'll kind of be like the alpha or whatever he said. Which is another thing that confuses me because we was at that issue where he was on the porch, and then all of a sudden Tyler Durden comes out and he walks through the door, and they're like, oh, sir, what this, that, and the other. And he calls the helicopter and he leaves or whatever. Now he's back on the porch. Is this a new porch? Is this a new house? Is he going to a new fight club?
No, I think what we're seeing there is that those are the moments when Tyler emerges. And as far as Sebastian is concerned, he's still asleep on that porch. So he hasn't moved. Okay.
So you don't think Sebastian realizes? Which
No.
that is what I don't get. I understand how they did that for the movie. I don't understand how they're doing that now because they know. You know what I'm saying? Like they know that's
it's a lot
Tyler
more
Durden.
difficult.
He's so big and popular now. If as soon as he's walking through the door, they're like, "Sir, what do you need, sir?" And now he goes to Fight Club. Nobody recognizes who this guy is. Like none of these kids know who he is. And then the guy who he's done smashed up before is like, it's just. That's why it's hard for me to follow sometimes. I'm like, wait a second, don't they already realize that he's like the leader, whether he knows it or not? But
well, as far as I would assume that it's known that he has this issue by now, and if he doesn't act like Tyler, then he's not Tyler at that moment. You know, that's the only time. Okay. That's the only thing that would make any ounce of sense. But it's a lot harder to follow in the comics than it was in the movie, and the whole realization that there's two different people that's lost now. You know what I'm saying? That was you watched the whole first thing and you thought they were two separate people. You didn't realize they were one person until later on, and that was kind of a big reveal. So you watch it now, or you read it now, it doesn't have the same effect. But at the same time, it's just hard to follow. You know what I'm saying? But it's still good. I like the story. I'm glad they're continuing the story. But you know, it's. If you don't know anything about Fight Club, this comic's just gonna absolutely confuse the crap out of you. So,
oh yeah, I couldn't imagine.
But we're gonna move on now to Lazarus number 19. What did you think about this one? I was super excited about it. I was ready for this comic from the second the last comic ended. So what did you
same
think?
Here, because we knew, we kind of called it. You know, we were just like, oh, she's dead, but she's not really dead. But we also said, it was like, how is her body going to respond? Because we knew she hadn't been taking her medicines, and she'd kind of done a shot. She's not getting in no tank. She's not getting, rehabilitated back at the facility or nothing, and she's not on her meds. So how's this going to happen? And it happened kind of like I thought. Like, she didn't get up. What I did like was that her platoon, it kind of, toughened up the sergeant or the colonel or whatever, corporate, whatever she's called, and she took lead, took her sword, told everybody to suck it up, and we got a mission to do, and they just bailed. On the other hand, her brothers and sisters back at the compound now realized she's not taking her meds. Yeah. So now I'm curious to see how that's going to play out. But I was totally down for that. It was really cool. I actually built some suspense when they was like, look at it. And they showed an image of her body temperature, and then it went up a degree. And then it went up 15 more degrees. And then it was just kind of like, you snapped necks and just treated them boys with like rag dolls, smashing around. So.
Nah, it was exciting because like at first you kind of got that vibe like, we all kind of had a feeling about what was going on, like we talked about last week. But then all of a sudden, her brothers and sisters like, whoa, why isn't she regenerating? What's going on? We don't understand, And then all of a sudden they're making the call. They're calling the other brother. What do we do? Do we, do we need to retrieve the body? What's the protocol? And he's like, I don't know. I don't even have the access to You're just seeing more how her
lost.
family is completely in disarray without the father. And
exactly.
if something happens to her, okay, which is one of the most prized possessions of this family, having a Lazarus, then they're falling apart again, you know. So it's just they don't know what's going on. None of the family seems to have any like guts or any like ability to step up. The only person who seems to kind of have that, you know, attitude is Joanna, who's behind the scenes doing all kinds of craziness. You know, she's got this other guy. She's working some plots out and all this kind of stuff. So, you know, I have a feeling that's going to come up next issue really big. I'm not sure what she's got going on. It kind of seems like she's trying to kidnap somebody. I'm not sure who she's trying to kidnap. I'm not sure if she's trying to kidnap one of Hawk's family members or what.
Yeah, I don't know.
But this virus, you know, it's adapting. It's really doing a number on the father, and they're slowly but surely trying to figure out how to fix it.
I think that new doctor they got coming in I think he's about to crack it.
Yeah.
The way he kept talking, he was like, wait a second, it's doing this. So he had, you know, if he had access to his genomes or something, that means he altered it specifically for that bloodline. So, like, I think he's starting to figure it out. So that you're going to get the father back. Don't know if it's going to be in the next issue or not. And I'm curious as to fallout that's going to happen with Forever not taking her meds. Because, I mean, what are they really going to do? What are they going to be like, we demand you to take your meds? She's going to be like, nah.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering how quickly that escalates into something in combination with the father coming back.
Right. Plus then the question was that he kind of raises, how in the world did they get a hold of the genome and all that kind of stuff? Yeah, I mean, exactly. That means there's a spy. I mean, that's pretty much what they've laid out. There is a spy, and someone has gotten a hold of this stuff. Now, that might have something to do with that issue way back a while with the nuns and them carrying the secret package, maybe. I don't know. I might have to go back and read that issue because I have a feeling that might have something to do with this. That might have been a little prelude understory that we weren't aware of because when it was told, you know, we really had no clue what it was about. So that might have something to do with it. That might have been how, you know, the nuns might have been the ones that stole the blood thing and moved it, you know, got it over there to Hawk, so they had a copy of his DNA. But even still, hopefully, I like the father. I think without the father, there is no replacement. I think the closest thing to a replacement is Forever, but they're never going to give her that replacement spot. And I think the dad knows that. You can, if you watch some of that, you can see how he's talking with her. He's explaining his strategies. He's asking her opinion. I think in his mind, he knows that the rest of his kids are a bunch of punks and they're never going to be able to take over the spot. And the only person that he feels comfortable with who's got that intelligence is Forever. And he knows they won't have it. They will absolutely flip out because as far as they're concerned, she's just a tool. You know, they don't even look at her in the same way as they would a brother or sister.
Yeah,
you know, so
she's not an equal to them.
Right. So I don't know what, but again, this comic is fantastic. Everything about it is good. I mean, every issue is just exciting. And I know we've mentioned this before, but man, I wish this. I'm really excited. I know that they've talked about this possibly turning into a TV series. Mike Rucka, the guy that writes this, is writing the pilot. And man, I tell you what, this would be a great TV series. Oh. I would.
Depending on what network picks it up and how they willing to, you know.
Yeah, as long as it's not Fox.
I'm down for Netflix. Weeks, I think everything should just go to Netflix automatically. That's me personally because they can do whatever they want there. But that's neither here nor there. I'm gonna be watching it regardless. And if whoever picks it up, I hope they do it right. Don't have a bunch of big fluff piece because this is a, you know, pretty dark and gritty little.
Yeah, no, they could. Hopefully, it'll be a cable network or something that could really do it justice. Speaking of justice. Moving on to We Stand on Guard, number 3.
United We Stand.
And it's not United We Stand. We're going to grind that United We Stand out of Richie's head.
I know.
But what did you think about this? I thought I liked this issue. I felt like this issue, this particular comic is starting to hit a stride here with this issue.
It was okay. I'm still not 100% on board with it. And maybe it was because I had just read Lazarus, and you're getting all this similar with the war and the female lead characters and stuff like that, and I'm still not 100% hooked yet, but I do like elements from it. That chick, what's the character's name? The redhead.
Oh, man.
Mary or something like that.
You're asking the wrong time of the morning that kind of question. I'm half
I
asleep.
know. I should have paid attention closer to that, but
Need to write down some
she's
notes.
getting tougher.
Yeah.
She's kind of a no nonsense. We're not leaving. We're going to stay and fight. I was mind blown about the new strategy they implemented about pain. It's like, oh, this is because I've never seen that. I had never seen that. Not in a movie, not in a TV show. I haven't read in a book that they used virtual reality to administer torture, where they basically would kill somebody, but it doesn't kill them, and their body's perfectly fine. So it means they can keep doing it over and over. That's scary.
That was pretty scary. I mean,
I was watching this. She's like, "Oh, we're gonna melt when your face melting off." She's like, "Oh, we're gonna kill me, get it done." Nah, you're not gonna die. This is a VR. And I was like, "Oh my goodness, I'd talk right now."
well, it was overall like there's different parts. Like I enjoyed the flashback to kind of see how the brother and the sister, like what was taking place. Because we haven't seen anything from flashback since the very first issue. So to kind of get a little glimpse into what's going on, how this happened, why this happened, anything like that, I'm enjoying that. The VR thing was creepy. I mean, it gave me goosebumps. I was like, oh man. I was like, can you imagine that? And then when that lady brought in her dad, and was like, "Oh yeah, oh my gosh, dude!" And
That's
then she was
mental
like,
torture
"Then she just told her," and I was sitting there thinking, "I really don't like this lady." You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a disdain for this character already. I mean, like, man, I really don't like this. I hope they kill her. You know what I'm saying? Like, immediately, I'm sitting here thinking, "Boy, I want to fly a Canadian flag and go out there and fight some Americans." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, it's a comic book." So I mean, it's just, it gets you. I think that's the point. It's really showing you the hardness that these Canadians have had to go through. Okay, all this is really difficult, and it's really painting the Americans as some bad guys. I mean, some really bad people, especially this one chick who is just absolutely just.
Ruthless.
Ruthless, man. I mean, that's the perfect word for it. She is ruthless. She wants to kill these people, and she don't give a crap. And it is becoming really interesting. I don't think they stand a chance. I don't see how they could. But overcoming crazy adversity is kind of the point of a lot of different shows. So I mean, this is This is going to be an uphill battle all the way, and it is, man. It is just.
That might be one thing that was interesting about this was they said they had that plan. He was like, "Oh, the Americans had this plan back in the 30s. If Canada ever, hooked up with the Brits to attack," and he says they executed that to the letter to do this the way they cut it out, and I thought it was actually pretty neat. We'll take over this through Quebec or whatever, and we'll plane their lines or we'll bomb their lines in the back, which kind of made me think for a second, like maybe the United States attacked themselves to give themselves a reason to take over Canada and take over the world.
Oh yeah, I mean, I
they
thought
haven't
that
talked
too.
a ton about who's really in control over there. Like we haven't seen a president. Like there hasn't been any diplomatic stuff yet. It's just been this woman and the general for a minute. So we haven't really seen that side of anything yet. But it made me think of that, and that might be another reason why I'm having a hard time jump on top of this, is because it is America as the bad guys. And we're attacking somebody, and that's weird to me. Always every single movie, every single propaganda, no matter what.
Yeah, it's hard
whether
to
we
get
are
around.
or not truly in real life. It's always portrayed as we're the good guys. We're always the good guys, which always makes you think, what about other countries? Like, what are other countries' history lessons like?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? We're tyrants. We're the big bully and things like that. So. it does give an interesting perspective. And it's hard for me to grasp that and be like, yeah, this comic's awesome when America's like doing what they're doing in that light. So
yeah, it is hard, you know, and I mean, you know, as any American would have an issue with just, you know, feeling like we're this evil bad guy that's taking over, you know, all this stuff. So
and it might not be that far off. Who knows?
I mean, we don't know. I mean, it just. I'm getting this, you know, I'm definitely starting to get past that part and be like, you know, I feel bad rooting against the Americans because it's a comic book. I mean, come on. I can't, you know, I can't sit there and be like, I'm not going to read this because I'm so patriotic. I think this is awful. It's still a good comic,
nothing like
you know,
that,
and
it's hard for me to
it's
like
not like I have, you know, any a particular bias against Canadians or anything either. You know, to me, you know, Canada and America seems like the last two countries that would be battling. You know, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, what, really? You know, it's silly. That's what makes it interesting, you know, because then you're like, what if it did happen? And what would happen then? You know, so I'm liking this again. This is an interesting comic. I think it's going to get better. Brian K. Vaughan's writing it, wrote Saga. Saga's amazing. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. It's good. We're going to keep knocking them out. But that's our top 3 for this week. It's We Stand Guard, issue number 3. Nate, that's 3?
Yes. Good job.
Yeah.
United We Stand.
Fight Club number 2, issue 4. And then we got Lazarus, I think, what are we on, issue 19?
That's right.
All right. See, I'm money. I'm money today. That's our top 3. Again, Fight Club was from last week. I guess there wasn't anything just really popping that was excellent that we looked at. So that's what you're going to be working with. Again, we want you to like, comment, subscribe, get in the conversation. Let us know, what do y'all think about this We Stand on Guard? What do y'all think about that comment, man? Y'all feel like, you know, the Americans are the bad guys or something? I'm going to start like a whole political war on here. But get back at us. Best way to contact us, follow us on Twitter. You can follow us on Twitter at ComfireRich. And Campfire Nate, sitting over there to the left. But until next time, we out.
See ya.